People think the house always wins. They think the neon lights, the billion-dollar surveillance systems, and the pit bosses with eyes like hawks are an impenetrable fortress. But the truth is, the most sophisticated security system in the world is only as strong as its smallest mechanical weakness. And in 1980, a broke TV repairman from Tulsa named Tommy Glenn Carmichael discovered a hole in that fortress. He didn't use explosives, he didn't use a crew of high-stakes hackers, and he didn't use a gun. He used a piece of dental steel, a guitar string, and a $12 light bulb. Over the next 2 decades, Tommy didn't just play the slots, he gutted them. He turned the entire gambling industry into his personal ATM, extracting an estimated $16 million while the most powerful corporations on Earth watched him do it, completely oblivious to how they were being bled dry. This is the story of how one man's obsession with how things work turned him into the most successful casino thief in history, and how he eventually became the only person the casinos could trust to save them from people exactly like him. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1980. Tommy is 35 years old, and by every metric of the American dream, he's failing. He's a high school dropout. He spends his days hunched over the guts of bulky cathode ray tube televisions and picking locks as a part-time locksmith. He pulls in $18,000 a year, which even in 1980 is barely enough to keep the lights on in his cramped apartment. He's got a wife, 2 kids, and a mountain of debt that grows every time the mailman hits the porch. But Tommy has a gift. He's a mechanical savant. You give him a broken lock, he'll feel the pins dance in his sleep and have it open in seconds. You give him a TV with a scrambled picture, he'll sniff out the one bad capacitor in a sea of circuitry within minutes. He understands the language of machines, but the machines aren't talking back with money. They're just talking about more work. Then his friend Ray calls. Ray is a hustler, the kind of guy who's always looking for a shortcut. He asks Tommy if he's ever been to Vegas. Tommy laughs. He can't afford a bus ticket to the next county, let alone the Strip. But Ray has a proposition. He tells Tommy that slot machines aren't these magical black boxes controlled by fate. They're mechanical. They have gears, sensors, switches, and timing windows. And if you understand the mechanics, you can manipulate the outcome. Ray shows him a crude device, a slider. It's just a bent piece of metal on a wire. Ray claims he's made $40,000 in 6 months with it, but he's hit a wall. He needs an engineer. He needs someone who can build a tool with surgical precision. Tommy looks at his bank account, $247 overdrawn. He looks at his tools. Then he says the words that would change the gambling industry forever. Show me how it works.
2 weeks later, Tommy is standing on the floor of the Fremont Casino in downtown Las Vegas. His heart is hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He's never stolen so much as a candy bar, and now he's standing in the middle of a high-security zone surrounded by cameras and guards. Ray is already at a machine, looking cool, calm, and collected. They're targeting the older 1970s mechanical models, the one-armed bandits. These machines are the backbone of the casino, and to most people, they're just noise and lights. To Tommy, they're a lock waiting to be picked. Tommy sits down at a machine, his hands slick with sweat. He inserts a real quarter to look legitimate. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out the slider. It's disguised as a car key, but it's actually a thin, precisely angled piece of metal. He slides it into the coin slot. He feels it catch. He knows the internal architecture of this machine better than the people who built it. The slider blocks the coin counter. It tricks the machine to thinking it's being fed a constant stream of quarters when it's actually empty. He pulls the lever. The reel spin. 3 cherries. The machine erupts. 20 quarters hit the tray with a metallic clang that sounds like a gunshot to Tommy's ears. He scoops them up, his heart racing. He does it again. Another win. In 10 minutes, he has $200. He walks out of the casino feeling like he's just discovered fire. By midnight, he has $890 in his pocket. That's 2 weeks of work at the repair shop, earned in a single evening. On the drive back to Tulsa, Tommy isn't thinking about the money he made. He's thinking about how to make the tool better. This is where the anti-hero emerges. Tommy isn't just a thief, he's an innovator. For the next 6 months, he turns his garage into a laboratory for casino destruction. He buys old slot machines from auctions, strips them down to the frame, and studies them. He realizes that Ray's slider was a blunt instrument. Tommy wants a scalpel. He develops the Carmichael Slider V2. He uses dental-grade steel, thin, incredibly strong, and flexible. He discovers that the magic angle is exactly 23 degrees. Any more, and it jams. Any less, and it misses the trigger. He perfects his 3-second insertion technique. He also builds a code of conduct. This is the gen structure of a master criminal. Rule 1, never hit the same casino twice in a month. Rule 2, never win more than $500 in a single sitting. If you win $5,000, people notice. If you win $500, you're just a lucky tourist. Rule 3, always look like a loser. He drinks, he laughs, he complains about his bad luck while he's literally looting the machine's guts. For 4 years, Tommy travels the circuit. Vegas, Atlantic City, riverboats in Mississippi. He's making $80,000 a year, triple his old salary. He's the ghost in the machine. But then, the world changes. The casinos start fighting back.
By 1985, the mechanical era is dying. Casinos are installing second-generation machines with anti-manipulation shields and electronic coin sensors. The slider, Tommy's bread and butter, is suddenly useless. It's like trying to use a skeleton key on a fingerprint scanner. Most cheaters would have packed it up and gone back to their day jobs. But Tommy is an engineer with a psychological scar. He can't stand being outsmarted by a machine. He buys one of the new high-tech machines, drags it into his garage, and spends 3 weeks living on coffee and adrenaline, taking it apart. He finds the vulnerability. Even though the sensors are new, the payout trigger still relies on a mechanical microswitch. It's the bottleneck of the machine's logic. If he can reach that switch, he owns the machine. But the path to the switch is a labyrinth of metal shields. He needs something long, thin, and flexible. He picks up a guitar. He rips off the high E string, the thinnest one. He attaches it to a thin metal rod and bends the end into a tiny hook. He calls it the monkey paw. It's a work of art. You insert it through the coin slot, navigate it through the shields like a surgeon performing a bypass, and hook the switch. Once you hook it, you just tug. The machine thinks coins are pouring in. You pull the lever, and the machine rewards your fake deposits with very real cash. In October 1985, he takes the monkey paw to the Tropicana. The first few tries are failures. He can't feel the switch. He realizes he's basically picking a lock in the dark, 3 inches deep inside a cabinet. But on the 3rd try, he feels that familiar click. The machine pays out $240. Over the next 2 years, the monkey paw becomes his primary weapon. He's pulling in $120,000 a year now. He buys a house. He sends his kids to private schools. When his wife asks where the money is coming from, he tells her he's a consultant. It's the ultimate irony. He is a consultant. The machines are just paying him directly without the paperwork. But arrogance is a hell of a drug. On November 12, 1987, at Caesar's Palace, Tommy gets careless. He's so focused on feeling the switch with the monkey paw that he doesn't notice the security guard standing 3 feet behind him. The guard isn't looking at the machine. He's looking at Tommy's arm, which is unnaturally still while his hand is buried in the coin slot. "Sir, what are you doing?" The words hit Tommy like a physical blow. He pulls his hand out, and the guitar string comes with it, dangling like a piece of evidence from a crime scene. He's arrested on the spot. At the trial, Tommy tries to play it off. His lawyer argues that he didn't break anything, he just manipulated what was already there. The judge doesn't buy it. Tommy gets a year in county jail.
While he's sitting in that cell, the industry undergoes its biggest transformation yet. The mechanical age is officially over. When Tommy gets out in 1988, he walks into a casino and sees a nightmare. 3rd-generation machines. No mechanical switches, no levers, just buttons and optical sensors. These sensors use a beam of light to count coins. When a coin passes through, it breaks the beam. The computer counts the break and adds credit. There is no physical switch for the monkey paw to hook. The hole has been plugged. Tommy is 43 years old. He has a criminal record. He's banned from every major casino in Nevada. He should be done. But this is the paradox of the story. The very technology meant to stop him actually gave him the keys to the kingdom. Tommy realized that if the machine used light to count, then light was its weakness. He went back to his garage and invented the most legendary cheating device in history, the light wand. Think about the sheer genius of this. It's a small battery, a tiny, incredibly bright LED, and a strand of fiber optic wire. He didn't go in through the coin slot this time. he went in through the payout chute, the hole where the money comes out. He would slide the wand up into the throat of the machine and shine the LED directly into the optical sensor. It's called blinding. The sensor, overwhelmed by the light, can't see the coins passing by. When the machine starts to pay out a small win, say 10 quarters, the sensor is blinded. It keeps waiting for the light beam to be broken so it can count the 10 quarters and stop the motor. But because the wand is blinding it, the sensor thinks 0 coins have passed, so it just keeps the motor running. It keeps dumping quarters until the hopper is physically empty.
Tommy tested it in January 1990 at Circus Circus. He won a small $5 jackpot. He inserted the wand. The machine started spitting quarters, 10, 20, 50, 100. It didn't stop. Tommy sat there for 90 seconds, collecting $850 in quarters. He pulled the wand out, and the machine instantly stopped, thinking it had finally reached its payout count. No error code, no alarm, just a lucky player walking away with a heavy bucket of silver. From 1990 to 1996, Tommy Glenn Carmichael became a god. The light wand worked on 99% of the electronic machines in existence. He wasn't just hitting Vegas anymore. He was hitting Atlantic City, riverboats, Indian reservations, even international casinos in the Caribbean and the Philippines. His daily average was $15,000. He was making $3 million a year. And the best part? He looked like a nobody. He wore Sears brand windbreakers. He drove a used sedan. He would sit at a machine for hours, nursing a single watered-down scotch, looking like a bored retiree. He'd lose $50 on purpose, then win $2,000 and leave quietly. He never cheered. He never drew attention. He was a professional harvester. But you can only bleed a multi-billion-dollar industry for so long before the numbers start to scream. In 1995, an analyst for the Nevada Gaming Control Board noticed a terrifying anomaly. Across 200 different casinos, machines manufactured between 1989 and 1993 were paying out 0.3% more than they were programmed to. In the gambling world, 0.3% is an extinction-level event. It represented tens of millions of dollars in missing money. The FBI launched Operation Lights Out. They started reviewing thousands of hours of surveillance footage, looking for patterns. They weren't looking for winners. They were looking for people who were consistently lucky on specific models of machines. They found a grainy shot of a middle-aged man at the Luxor. He wins, and his hand moves toward the payout chute for just a second. Then they find him again at the MGM Grand. Same hand movement, same machine model. They cross-reference his face with criminal records, and there he is, Tommy Glenn Carmichael, the guy with the guitar string from 1987.
The FBI didn't just want to arrest him, they wanted to catch him in the act with the device. They shadowed him for days, they watched him work. They saw the light wand in action through high-powered zoom lenses. On November 4, 1996, at the Mirage, the trap snapped shut. Tommy was midway through a blinded payout when 6 agents swarmed him. They didn't just take him to jail, they took him to a federal facility. He was facing 85 years. His houses, his millions, his family, it was all going to vanish into a 6x9 cell. But Tommy had one last lock to pick. He realized the FBI and the casinos didn't just want him behind bars, they wanted his brain. They were terrified because they didn't know how many light wands were out there. They didn't know what else he had invented. Tommy's lawyer sat down with the feds and made an offer. My client will tell you everything. He'll show you every device, every vulnerability, every trick. He'll teach your security teams. In exchange, he stays out of federal prison. The casinos were furious, but they were also desperate. They took the deal. Tommy spent the next 2 years as a consulting prisoner. He handed over 17 different devices, some of which the FBI didn't even have names for. He sat in boardrooms with the executives of the very casinos he had robbed and showed them step by step how he had got at them. He showed them how a $12 LED could beat a $100,000 security system. He told them, "You're looking at the screens. You should be looking at the player's hands. A real player celebrates a win. A thief just waits for the hopper to empty."
By 1998, Tommy was a free man, albeit one permanently banned from ever entering a casino again. But the irony wasn't finished. The same companies he stole millions from started hiring him as a security consultant. He was making $5,000 a day to fly around the world and break new machine prototypes. He became the architect of the very systems that now make it impossible to cheat. He helped develop the ticket-in, ticket-out system we see today, which eliminated physical coins entirely, finally, truly making the light wand obsolete.
So, who won? Tommy stole $16 million, served less than a year in jail, and retired as a respected expert in his field. The casinos lost millions, but they used Tommy's lessons to build a more secure, more profitable industry that now makes billions more than it did in the 80s. Tommy Glenn Carmichael proved that the house only wins as long as it's the smartest person in the room. But for 20 years, the smartest person in the room was a TV repairman from Tulsa with a 23-degree bend in a piece of steel. He didn't just beat the system, he rewrote the rules. And as he once told a room full of FBI agents, you can't arrest an idea, you can only hope to hire it before someone else does. If you think this was the only way people found to bleed Vegas dry, you haven't seen anything yet. Because while Tommy was using light to steal quarters, there was another group using physics to beat the roulette wheel. And their story is even more insane. But that's a conversation for the next video. Keep your eyes on the hands, not the screen. Thanks for watching.